What if I told you that you could be happier right now, no matter what life throws at you, no matter the struggles, the stress, or the uncertainty? Imagine waking up every day with a sense of peace, a sense of joy, no matter the chaos around you. Here's the truth you need to hear. Happiness isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create. By the end of this, your entire outlook will shift. You'll see happiness not as a distant goal, but as a choice you can make at any moment. Take full responsibility for your happiness. I want you to really hear that. The first step to unlocking a life of true fulfillment is realizing that your happiness is yours and yours alone. It's not up to your boss, your friends, your family, or even your circumstances. It's a choice you make every single day. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably saying, but what about all the things that happen to me? How can I be happy when life is so difficult? Let me tell you something powerful. Your circumstances do not control your happiness unless you let them. We live in a world that often teaches us to look outside ourselves for happiness. We're told that if we just get the job, make the money, buy the house, or find the perfect partner, then we'll be happy. But that's the trap. Happiness is not a result of what you have or don't have. It's a result of how you choose to see the world. It's about your mindset, your perspective, and your willingness to take full responsibility for your internal state. Let me share a powerful example with you. Think about Viktor Frankl, the renowned psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. Frankl was imprisoned in a concentration camp, stripped of everything he knew, his family, his freedom, his dignity, and yet he discovered something profound. Even in the most brutal of circumstances, we have the power to choose our response. He couldn't control his situation, but he could control how he responded to it. He found meaning, he found purpose, and most importantly, he found happiness, not in what was happening around him, but in his ability to choose his attitude toward it. Frankl said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That's the power of taking responsibility for your happiness. It's about recognizing that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but the creator of your emotional world. You control your response, and your response creates your reality. When you take full responsibility, you stop blaming the world, you stop waiting for the right conditions to be happy, and you start making the choice to be happy no matter what. Here's the psychology behind it. Every emotion we feel is a result of the thoughts we think. If you're constantly thinking, I can't be happy because of this situation, you are reinforcing a state of unhappiness. But if you shift your thoughts and say, I can choose how I feel regardless of what's happening, you instantly empower yourself. You break the chains that hold you in a reactive state and step into a place of power where you control your emotions, not the other way around. Think about someone like Oprah Winfrey, who faced incredible adversity growing up, from poverty to abuse, but instead of letting those experiences define her happiness, she took responsibility for how she responded to them. She chose to rise above her circumstances and create a life full of meaning, success, and happiness. Oprah didn't wait for life to get easy. She chose happiness despite the challenges. And that's why she became one of the most influential figures in the world. So how do you start taking responsibility for your happiness today? It begins with small choices. When something goes wrong, instead of blaming someone or something else, ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? How can I choose to respond in a way that serves me? It's not always easy, and it takes practice. But every time you shift your mindset, you strengthen your ability to take responsibility for your emotional state. Remember, no one can give you happiness. No one can take it away from you. It is always within you. Your power lies in your ability to choose it every single day. So take responsibility for it, own your happiness. And from that moment on, everything in your life will start to shift. Because when you own your happiness, you own your life. Stop chasing more. In a world that constantly tells you to go bigger, faster, and harder, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that happiness lies in acquiring more. More money, more followers, more success, more things. Society teaches us that if we just achieve the next big milestone, if we just climb a little higher on the ladder, then we'll be happy. But here's the truth. The constant pursuit of more is the very thing that keeps you from being truly happy. Think about it for a moment. When is enough enough? If you're always focused on more, you'll never have a sense of satisfaction. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it never stays full. That's what happens when you chase more without ever stopping to appreciate what you already have. The truth is, happiness doesn't come from more. It comes from the ability to be content with what you have right now. Let me give you a real-world example. Look at someone like Elon Musk. Here's a man who has billions of dollars, multiple companies, and more achievements than most people could ever dream of. And yet, in interviews, Musk has spoken about how the pursuit of more success never truly satisfied him. He constantly moved from one massive goal to the next, thinking that the next success would finally make him happy. But it didn't. It wasn't until he started focusing on deeper, more meaningful goals, like creating a sustainable future for humanity, that he found a sense of true fulfillment. The key here is that once you stop chasing more for the sake of more, you start chasing meaning, purpose, and impact. And that's where the true happiness lies. But why is this so hard for us to accept? Why do we keep chasing more even when we know it's not making us happy? The psychological reasoning behind this is simple. We're conditioned to think that our worth is determined by our possessions, our achievements, and our status. We live in a culture that celebrates success in material terms, and we've been taught to measure our self-worth by external markers. We are constantly bombarded with the message that we're not enough until we have more. This external validation is addicting. We get a rush from the idea that we're moving forward, achieving more, proving ourselves. But here's the thing, true fulfillment comes from within. It's about finding peace in the present moment and understanding that your value isn't tied to what you have or what you achieve. It's tied to who you are right now. Take Steve Jobs, for example. In his final years, Jobs admitted that the pursuit of material wealth didn't bring him happiness. Despite being one of the wealthiest men in the world, he reflected on the fact that relationships, personal fulfillment, and meaningful work were what truly mattered. When you stop chasing more, you begin to realize that the things that bring you lasting happiness aren't things at all. They're the people, the moments, and the experiences that fill your life with meaning. So, how do you stop chasing more and find peace with what you have? It starts with gratitude. It starts with pausing and truly appreciating what you've already accomplished and what you already have. It's not about giving up on growth or progress. It's about shifting the focus from external accumulation to internal satisfaction. It's about setting goals not just for the sake of achieving more, but for creating a life that aligns with your values, your purpose, and your true sense of fulfillment. Here's the most powerful shift you can make. Stop seeking more and start seeking meaning. When you focus on what truly matters to you, everything else will fall into place. You'll stop running on the treadmill of more and begin living a life of purpose, peace, and true happiness. Shift from victimhood to ownership. This is one of the most transformative shifts you can make in your life. And it's the shift that separates those who rise to greatness from those who remain stuck. For most of us, life throws challenges our way. We face hardships, disappointments, and setbacks. And while it's natural to feel hurt, angry, or frustrated when these things happen, here's where the change comes. You can either stay stuck in a victim mentality or take ownership of your life and your future. Let's talk about what it means to be in a victim mentality. Victimhood is when you let your circumstances control you. It's when you feel like the world is against you, that life is happening to you and you have no control over it. It's blaming others for your situation, waiting for someone to rescue you, or hoping that things will just magically get better. The problem with this mindset is that it's disempowering. When you stay stuck in the victim mentality, you surrender your power to change your situation. You become passive, waiting for the world to change for you instead of taking action to change your world yourself. But here's the breakthrough moment. You have the power to choose how you respond to life. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to take ownership, to step into your power and decide how you will rise above it. You can either react from a place of powerlessness, or you can rise from a place of ownership and responsibility. Take the example of Nelson Mandela, a man who spent 27 years in prison for standing up for what he believed in. Most people would have seen those years as a life sentence to bitterness and resentment. But Mandela didn't let his circumstances define him. Instead of seeing himself as a victim of apartheid, he saw an opportunity to take ownership of his mind, his heart, and his future. Even in the darkest moments, he made the decision to use his prison time for growth, to master his emotions, and to prepare himself for a greater purpose. When he was finally released, he didn't harbor hatred or bitterness. He chose to forgive and to lead with compassion. That's ownership. Now let's talk about how you can make this shift in your own life. The first step is to recognize when you're slipping into victimhood. The next time something goes wrong, ask yourself, am I reacting from a place of power, or am I letting my circumstances control me? It's easy to blame others, to say, I can't because of this, or I would if they hadn't done that. But here's the truth. What happens to you is not nearly as important as how you choose to respond to it. Life will always throw challenges your way. There's no avoiding that. But when you choose to take ownership of your response, you take back your power. One of the most powerful ways to shift from victimhood to ownership is through your thoughts. The way you think about a situation will directly influence how you feel and act. If you think this is happening to me and there's nothing I can do, you'll feel helpless and your actions will follow that mindset. But if you shift to this is a challenge I can overcome and I'm going to figure out how, your mindset shifts. You'll start looking for solutions, not problems. You'll start asking empowering questions like, how can I turn this around, or what can I learn from this? The key here is to stop focusing on what you can't control and start focusing on what you can. Take Oprah Winfrey, who faced abuse, poverty, and rejection throughout her early life. She could have stayed in victimhood, blaming her circumstances for her pain, but instead she chose to take ownership of her story. She turned her pain into power, used her struggles as stepping stones, and built an empire that touched millions of lives. Oprah's success didn't come from avoiding hardship. It came from taking ownership of your life, no matter how difficult the circumstances. When you shift from victimhood to ownership, you stop being a passive participant in your life. You stop waiting for someone else to make things right. You take control of your future. You take control of your emotional state, and you take control of your happiness. Ownership means realizing that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. This shift is the key to unlocking your true potential. It's the key to transforming adversity into opportunity, pain into purpose, and obstacles into growth. The moment you make the decision to take ownership of your life is the moment everything starts to change. No longer will you be a victim of circumstance. You will become the creator of your own reality. And that is when the real magic happens. Focus on the present, not the past or future. This is one of the most powerful shifts you can make, and it's the key to living a life of true fulfillment. So often, we get caught in the trap of either regretting the past or worrying about the future. We replay old mistakes, wonder what could have been, or fantasize about what might happen down the road. But the truth is, the only moment that truly matters is the one you're living right now. Think about it. The past is gone. It's done. It's over. And the future, no matter how much you plan or stress about it, is still a mystery. The only thing you have control over is what's happening in this moment. When you let your mind get stuck in the past or the future, you're robbing yourself of the most powerful resource you have, the present. Let's break this down. Take Steve Jobs, a man who revolutionized the tech world. He wasn't focused on what Apple was in the past, and he certainly didn't get caught up worrying about the future of the company. He focused on the present moment, on what needed to be done now to shape the company's future. He knew that the only way to create something extraordinary was to give everything he had in the present moment, with complete focus and passion. His ability to stay present, to truly focus on what was right in front of him, was one of the key reasons Apple became one of the most successful companies in the world. Now let's talk about the psychological aspect of this. When you focus too much on the past, you allow regrets to control your emotions. You may find yourself replaying past mistakes or missed opportunities, but what happens when you do that? You create negative emotions. You feel shame, guilt, anger, and frustration. The past becomes a prison, and you keep revisiting it, living in that emotional state over and over. The past can only affect your present if you let it. On the flip side, if you're too focused on the future, you're creating anxiety. You're constantly wondering, what if this happens? Or what if that doesn't work out? You worry about outcomes that haven't even happened yet. And in doing so, you rob yourself of peace and joy. The future is unknown, and no amount of worrying will change it. You can't control what happens tomorrow, but you can control how you respond today. This is where Eckhart Tolle, the author of The Power of Now, changed the game for many of us. Tolle teaches that the present moment is where life truly happens. The past and future are illusions that we trap ourselves in. By staying present, by focusing on the now, you step into a place of power where you can make the most of your current reality. When you stop focusing on the past or future, you open yourself up to all the opportunities that are available to you right now. Think about a time in your life when you were so focused on what was happening in the present moment that everything else faded away. Maybe it was a moment of pure joy, creativity, or flow. Maybe you were so engaged in something you loved, whether it was work, a hobby, or a relationship, that time seemed to disappear. In those moments, you felt alive, you felt fulfilled, you were operating at your best. That's the power of presence. So how do you start living more in the present? The first step is awareness. Pay attention to when your mind starts drifting to the past or future. Notice the thoughts that bring you away from the now. Then gently bring your focus back to the present. Start practicing mindfulness, whether it's through meditation, breathing exercises, or just taking a moment to truly engage with what's in front of you. The truth is, when you focus on the present, you give yourself the chance to fully experience